Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's show is the very much requested part 2 of the fantastic story, The Beast Within. As ever, huge thank you to the author, WolfInSpace. And of course, please do let us know down below in the comments what you thought. Please do like and share, help build the channel and the community further. And of course, don't forget to hashtag TeamFEAR. As some of you might have seen, I have put myself forward for this year's Evil Idol, and I'm going to need as much support as you guys can muster with your likes and votes, as well as a 5-round contest running from October 7th all the way through to January 26th, I believe, 2020. More to come on that, but without further ado, let's get into tonight's story, entitled The Beast Within. Chapter 2, Missing Person Report. Let's get straight into that. Police investigation into the disappearance of Piper Rosenthal. It all started with what was a missing person report. A simple call that would forever change the British police and caused a public outcry, which still bears no reliable explanation to this day. This, of course, is referring to the disappearance of Piper Rosenthal. It started in the early morning of Sunday, the 18th of August 2019, 1:38 AM to be exact, when a call was made to Cheshire Police. It was reporting a missing person. The voice on the other side was shaky, discernibly female, and around middle-aged. She explained how her daughter had left and that she couldn't fully explain what she had seen. Suspicions were raised on why she didn't call earlier. The following is the entire phone call, unedited. Operator 999, which service do you require? Caller, police, please. Different operator. Cheshire Police, what is your emergency? Caller, I'd like to report a missing person. Operator, of course, miss. First of all, we must establish who the missing person is. Please give a rough description. Caller, of course. Her name is Piper Rosenthal. She's around 5'11" with jet black hair and pale white skin. Her eyes are light purple. You mustn't forget that. Keyboard clicks. Operator, okay. What is your address? Caller, it's address redacted. Operator, thank you. A squad car should arrive within the next 20 minutes. But please, can you tell me when you last saw her? Caller, she left. She ran away at 11:18 and she ran down the road towards the forest. She wasn't normal. She was a monster. Operator, she ran towards the woods? Caller, yes, she threw me across the lawn. Operator, is there any other information to note? Caller, no, it's all right. End of phone call. At 2:02 AM, 2 police officers, Police Constable Lewis Avery and Police Sergeant Nancy Barrett, arrived at the Rosenthal residence. The identity of the caller was shown to be Catherine Rosenthal. PC Avery searched the property while Sergeant Barrett questioned Mrs. Rosenthal. Another 18 minutes passed before Avery alerted Barrett via radio that he had found something. He asked whether she, Barrett, had a screwdriver on her, to which Mrs. Rosenthal rushed to the garage and found a medium-sized drill. Avery was found knelt on the cattle grid at the opening of the property. He had his eyes fixed on the space below the rods of steel. "One of you, get this thing off," he said. Barrett took the drill off Mrs. Rosenthal and worked on getting the screws off 3 of the girders of the frame. Avery reached in and produced a pair of torn black Converse boots and a shredded pair of blue denim jeans. Upon further inspection, Avery was able to find other parts of jeans, as well as a pair of grey Victoria's Secret panties, torn in half. Avery threw one of the shoes to Barrett, who observed it. "Fucking hell, there's toenails in here," she exclaimed in shock. Avery walked to the car and took out some evidence bags, in which all 3 items were placed in. The 2 officers bade farewell to Mrs. Rosenthal, promising that they would return later, during daylight hours. Barrett and Avery had the clothes sent to a laboratory for examination, and settled the case. Another 3 calls were made on the same night, documenting strange occurrences within the town of Bollington, Cheshire. Unfortunately, only one of these calls were made public due to the other 2 containing distressing content. The call that was not redacted was made by a farmer who went by the name of William Blakeman. He claimed that there was a large black mass in one of the fields. This is the full, unedited call. Dial tone. Operator. 999, which service do you require? Blakeman. Police, I suppose. Dial tone. Operator. Cheshire Police, what is your emergency? Blakeman. Yes, hello, listen. I'm more confused than anything else. There's this, giant black shape in the middle of one of my cattle fields. Operator. A shape? Blakeman. Yeah, a kind of tangle of black. I can't tell from this distance. Operator. Okay, sir. May I ask what the other cows are doing? Blakeman. They're all grouped in a herd in the corner. Something's not right. They shouldn't be up at all. There's this infrequent cry coming from them. Just one. Apart from that, they're silent. Operator. A cry? Blakeman. Yeah, that's right. Just like when a mother can't find her calf. It's exactly like that. Operator. Do you possess a firearm, sir? Blakeman. Yes, just one. A 12-gauge shotgun. Operator. I may remind you that you are authorized to use your firearm on an object that's causing your livestock stress. Blakeman. Of course. Sound of creaking, and then cocking of shells, and then the door opening. Operator. Sir? Has the object moved at all? Blakeman. No, wait. Hang on. Operator. What is it? Blakeman. It's just looking at me. With bright yellow eyes. It's not moving. It's just looking at me. Shotgun fires, loud growl, and then stumbling before slamming the door. Operator. Sir? Sir, are you okay? Blakeman. Pants in his hurt. I shot it. It flinched and then ran at me. I'm looking out my window now, but there's nothing there. Operator. Do you want me to send an officer to survey the property? Blakeman. No, but thanks for your time. Operator. Lock your doors and windows, and do not go outside. A squad may drop by during the day. Blakeman. Thanks. End of call. At 2:45 p.m. on Sunday, August the 18th, 2019, Sergeant Oliver Hassan and Police Constable Lewis Avery went to the Rosenthal property for a second time. This time, they brought recording gear with hopes to interview a member of the household. This time, the door was answered by a medium-sized boy with shoulder-length black hair and blue eyes. He identified himself as Asa Rosenthal and looked visibly shaken. He coldly invited the officers inside. They settled themselves down and summoned Catherine. Asa followed suit, and the police asked to conduct an interview, which was accepted. This is the full interview, unedited. Hassan. This is about Piper Rosenthal, going missing. Before we start, may I ask your relationship with her? Mrs. Rosenthal. I'm her mother. Mr. Rosenthal. Younger brother. Hassan. Thank you. Now, may I ask, when did you last see Piper? Mrs. Rosenthal. I saw her when she came out of her room at around 11:15 p.m. I came out of my room because I heard screaming. She was crouched on the floor and begged me to go inside. I blacked out from fear. Mrs. Rosenthal. She pushed me across the front garden and she... Mrs. Rosenthal began to cry at this point and was unable to respond to any further questions. Hassan. Was she all right during the day? Mr. Rosenthal. She had been feeling sick and told me she'd had sex with a boy at a college, which is where it all started. Hassan. Which college, if you don't mind me asking? Rosenthal. Oxford University, Lincoln College. She was roommates with a girl, Luidia. Her surname is something Eastern European, and stayed there for 3 years. Hassan. Oxford. Rosenthal. Yeah. Hassan. Was there anything else? Rosenthal. Don't think so. Mrs. Rosenthal. The squad that came by earlier found torn clothes in the cattle grid. Avery. When we analyse the samples, we'll let you know, but for now, we can't be too sure on whose it was. Mrs. Rosenthal. Oh, for fuck's sake, they're Pipers. Who else would they be? Avery. We'll let you know. Mr. Rosenthal. Please, excuse my mother. Avery. No problem. Hassan. Is that it? Rosenthal. Yeah, that's it. Hassan. Well, kid, if anything else happens, call the non-emergency and say you need to speak to Sergeant Ollie Hassan. Rosenthal. Will do. Hassan and Avery stand up. Rosenthal. You will find her, won't you? And when you do, make sure she comes here first. Hassan. Don't get your hopes up. Rosenthal. Hang on. He reaches into his pockets and hands them a smashed iPhone 7S. Take this. It's Piper's phone. Avery takes the phone. Avery. Well, we'll come around if we find anything. End of recording. The farmer who called about a disturbance in his field, William Blakeman, and his son Nathan, found a disemboweled, partially devoured carcass of a calf on the field where the shape was reported. Leading away from the body was a set of gigantic paw prints, along with a small blood trail, which disappeared after about 100 metres. No police was summoned, but rumours of a monster began circulating around the children of the town. On Tuesday, August 20th, 2019, 2 officers of Oxford Police, Police Constable Abigail Chelmsford and Sergeant Alfie Wigan went to Lincoln College in hopes of talking to Lydia, Piper's roommate. They inquired at the front desk and were told that Lydia was packing up to leave that very evening. Regardless of this fact, the officers knocked on the door of the apartment upon noticing minor abrasions on the wood. Lydia answered the door with a pair of headphones around her neck. Oh, shit, she groaned. If you're going to search me, promise you'll pack my stuff back up after taking it all out. The officers entered her dorm room and sat down on her couch. Lydia awkwardly sat opposite them. The officers asked Lydia about interviewing her, which she agreed to. Start recording. Lydia. I've been in this country for 4 years, and already I get in shit with the police. Wigan. You're not in trouble. It's about Piper. She's gone missing. Lydia. Missing? Like you cannot find her? Wigan. It's been 2 days, and we thought it would be better if we talked to you, as you were the last person who may have known anything. Lydia. She fucked Danny Adams, then got sick from it. Wigan. Who's Danny Adams? Lydia. Quite a pretty boy. Was just about every girl in university once. Wigan. And you say Piper was with him? Lydia. She told me she was going to fuck him, and then she did. And then she got sick. He tried to see her at 3 a.m, too. Wigan turns to face Chelmsford. Wigan. That explains the cracks on the door. Abby. Chelmsford. What were Piper's symptoms? Lydia. She had a headache, then a violent stomach upset, and then blurred vision and muscle aches. Wigan. Thank you. Lydia. What? Was she poisoned? Wigan. I think it's something a bit worse. Lydia. Now, when did you last speak to Piper? Lydia. The last time I spoke to Piper was probably the day before she left. I told her about Danny showing up in the early hours, and she looked shocked. She was slightly tearful and told me that if he came back, I was to call the police. Piper hugged me goodbye and left. Danny came by later that afternoon. Wigan. Danny Adams? Lydia. He said he was going to talk to Piper and forced his way inside. I told him she had left, and he looked at me. I swear down, I thought he was going to kill me. He asked me where she was going, and I told him she was on the train out of Oxford. He demanded I tell him where she lived. I refused. I braced myself for a punch or two, but he screamed in anger and left. He must have really needed to talk to her, because before he left, he told me that if Piper goes missing, it ain't his fault. Chelmsford. Fucking psycho. Wigan. Where is he from, Lydia? Lydia. Somewhere in North London. I think near Camden Market. Wigan. Abby, tell them Met. Chelmsford leaves the room. Lydia. Are you done with me now? Wigan. Pretty much. You're done. Lydia. You will tell me if you find anything, won't you? Wigan. We'll try. Lydia. If it's in the next week, I'll be alright, but if not, send a letter to Vilnius Central PO. Wigan. We'll try. Thank you, Miss Catalini. End of recording. The Metropolitan Police Service was informed about Danny Adams on August 20th, 2019 by Police Constable Abigail Chelmsford. Sergeant Oliver Hassan was relocated to London to assist the Detective Inspector Charlie Lancaster, the detective tasked with finding Danny and Piper, should she show up in Greater London. Information to note: D.I. Lancaster is 24 years old but has risen through the ranks in 3 years, and despite his young age has a head full of white hair. He also has a minor defect in one eye. The pupil is shaped like a star while the iris is dark orange. 20th of August 2019. Piper Rosenthal's phone decoded and messages, call history and audio of calls collected. 21st of August 2019. First news coverage. BBC 6 p.m. news. At Oxford University graduate has been confirmed missing by Cheshire Police this morning. Image of Piper appears on screen. Piper Rosenthal was last seen leaving her family residence at 11:18 p.m. on the 18th and has not been seen since. Our Cheshire correspondent Fergus Brooke reports. Thin Scottish gentleman appears on screen. Yes, as it appears that Piper was last seen entering the wooded area close to midnight on Sunday, and police identified 3 items of her clothing within a cattle grid. According to Oxford Police, Rosenthal has recently been violently ill and stressed for the final few days at Oxford University, according to her roommate Lydia Catalini. Cheshire Police are listing her disappearance as suicide, while public rumours display cult activity. Unfortunately, this is all they know. Fergus Brooke, BBC News. Cuts back to studio. Thank you, Fergus. And in other news, 22nd of August 2019. Police searches involve body bags. D.I. Lancaster and Sergeant Hassan were given images of both Daniel Adams and Piper Rosenthal, caught together on CCTV and solo portraits. They were given free rein of London in order to find Danny, who, at this moment, was the number 1 suspect. The officers were deployed with plain clothes and went to Camden Market. They caught Adams exiting a cafe and followed him home. He was oblivious to their presence, and the officers changed into uniform before knocking on his door. Adams was nonchalant when communicating with the officers. He was very defensive when the officers were asking to interview him. Eventually, he agreed. Start recording. Hassan. Right, where's she gone? Because I think you know. Lydia Catalini certainly thinks so. Adams. Fucking bitch. Hassan. In other words, Mr. Adams, Piper Rosenthal is missing, and it's a wired notion that you may have something to do with it. Adams. Sure, I slept with her. And then she forced me to stay in. She got sick and gave me shit for everything. Hassan. And what about Lydia? Adams. What about her? Hassan. You tried to get with Piper forcefully, then threatened Lydia. Adams. Whatever. Hassan. May I just inform you that entering someone's property without their permission is a violation of the law. Adams. Pfft, what else was I supposed to do? She needed to listen to me because I was the only other person who could tell her the facts. Hassan. Adams, tell me what you know. Adams. Piper met with me on Friday the 17th. She slept with me and left. She felt sick the next day. I offered my help. This wasn't just a casual bug. This was more than that. This was life-threatening. Hassan. And in all this time, you didn't think of talking to a doctor? Adams. I was told Piper took a morning after pill, and then it died down. The last I talked to her was the night she went missing. Lancaster. Lies! Adams. Huh? Lancaster. You were talking to her. About what? Adams. I just said I was sorry for everything, and I hope she'd forgive me. Lancaster. Really? Adams. Yeah. Lancaster. Well, Piper seemed to be in quite a bit of pain during that conversation. Adams. Pfft, beats me. Lancaster. Tell me this, Mr. Adams. What exactly are the lost? Adams. What do you on about, Detective Inspector? Lancaster slams fist onto table. Lancaster. You know what I'm talking about. Stop playing the innocent. Adams. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Lancaster. Try me. This wouldn't be the first time I've dealt with someone like this. Adams. Piper has been given a condition by me. Lancaster. Let me guess. Bipolar disorder? Adams. A little worse than that. Lancaster. Lycanthropy? Adams. Let's just say it's the physical equivalent. Lancaster. We've heard enough. End of recording. 23rd of August, 2019. Cheshire police turn attention to the forest where Piper Rosenthal was last reported. By the 24th, they had made a shocking discovery. Second news coverage. BBC, 6 p.m. news. Piper Rosenthal, the Oxford University student who went missing 5 days ago, has still not been found. But earlier this morning, Cheshire police made a shocking discovery. Our Cheshire correspondent, Fergus Brooke, reports. Please note, this may be disturbing for some viewers. Thin Scottish gentleman returns to the screen. Yes, this morning, with the 94-acre forest of Bollington Cheshire, police forces found teeth, torn clothing, and old blood belonging to one Piper Rosenthal, the university student who went missing on Sunday. Inspector Rawlinson of the local police department has issued a statement saying that they will find whoever has committed this brutal act. The items were found under a patch of leaves when a dog walker saw his beagle sniffing against it before kicking away the covering. This new evidence is shocking, but at the same time brings us closer to whoever murdered her. Public notion is that Piper was murdered, causing outcry from the public. The case went silent until late September. And despite Detective Inspector Lancaster trying to get Danny Adams convicted, his case was dropped due to lack of evidence. Sergeant Oliver Hassan was repositioned back to Cheshire. Asa Rosenthal, Piper's brother, is contemplating suicide. (14th of September, 2019). A 999 call, unlike any other, was received by Cheshire police. The caller was confident and claimed she had seen the previously thought to be dead Piper Rosenthal. She claimed that she had found her stumbling around outside like she was drunk, covered in blood, and completely naked and freezing cold to the touch. She said that she and her husband had carried her in just as the sun was setting, and that she appeared to be completely dazed and confused. For a moment the call was hopeful, before it took a horrifying turn. Unedited call. Operator. 999, which service do you require? Caller. Police, please. Dial tone. Operator. Cheshire Police, what is your emergency? Caller. Hi, so, do you know that girl who went missing a month ago? Operator. Piper Rosenthal? Caller. Yeah. Well, I think I found her. Operator. Her body or... Caller. No. This is going to sound really weird, but she's alive. Operator. We'll send a squad car and an ambulance. But can you please tell me your address? Caller. Sure, it's... Address redacted. Operator. Alright, I've got 2 officers on the way, but it's pretty far out. Could you just first check inside her mouth? Caller. I'll try to, but she's absolutely covered in blood and was being aggressive when we put a blanket on her. Operator. She's covered in blood. Keyboard clicks. Caller. Yeah, like head to toe. It's mainly on her arms, breasts, mouth, but there's a hell of a lot in her hair, and all over her, really. Operator. Miss, can you check and see if her teeth are all there? Caller. Okay, sure. They're all there. Operator. Fuck me. And her toenails? Caller. All there? Keyboard clicks. Caller. We tried to question her earlier, but she was completely out of it. She refused to respond, and when we tried to give her something to drink, she swatted it away. Operator. So how did you find her? Caller. I went outside for a cigarette when I noticed bloody footprints all over the driveway. Then I found her. She was stumbling around outside like she was drunk. We carried her in and she was freezing. We asked for her name and she simply said in a rough, calm voice, "Well, who the fuck do you think I am?" We were among the people who thought she was dead. Operator. I see. Sergeant Hassan, who has spent a lot of time on this case, is on his way. Caller. Well, Piper said nothing. She's just sitting there, waiting, with her eyes dead fixed on the window. Operator. Just stay calm, miss. The officers will be there in 6 minutes. Caller. Wait. Operator. What are you seeing? Caller. This huge smile appeared on Piper's face. Operator. A smile? Caller. Yeah, this huge fucking smile ripped across her face. Something's not right. Operator. What is she looking at? Caller. She's looking at the moon. Blood-curdling scream is then heard. Caller. Holy shit! Operator. What is it? Caller. Oh my fucking god! What the fuck? Operator. What are you seeing? Excuse me, miss, what are you seeing? Caller. She dropped the blanket. She's on the ground. She's convulsing on the ground. Operator. Could it be a seizure? Caller. Oh my god! Operator. What is it? Caller. She's Luke, run! Footsteps are then heard. Operator. Miss, what happened? Caller. Jesus, Luke! Barricade the door! Operator. Miss, what's happening, miss? Caller. Piper started changing. We ran, and then all I could hear were the cracks and groans. She's screaming and crying down there. We barricaded the door, and now... Massive crash is then heard. Caller. She's here. How far away are the officers? Operator. They're minutes away. Just try to hold on. Caller. Luke, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Crash and then splintering of wood is then again heard. Ah! The line went dead. The officers, PC Lewis Avery and Sergeant Hassan, arrived 28 seconds later to the sound of blood-curdling screams and growls coming from the upstairs room, before a young woman appeared at the window, bashing at it with tears streaming down her cheeks, and she was violently grabbed away, and a blood-curdling scream erupted from the room. Blood splashed the window, and the officers were forced to take cover as the top half of the same woman was thrown through the window, sending shards of glass everywhere. Avery, call for backup! Hassan yelled as he ran into the house. Avery, call for backup! Hassan yelled as he ran into the house. He yelled a brave cry, and Avery could see his shadow in the room upstairs. He held a camera up and snapped a photo. The brief flash startled whatever was in there, causing it to jump from the window with terrific speed. It bounded past Avery's position and dashed into the woods opposite the house. The face of Oliver Hassan appeared in the doorway as he stumbled out into the porch. He violently vomited and collapsed onto the ground, sobbing. A few moments after PC Avery called for backup, an ambulance arrived. The driver stepped out, accompanied by another paramedic. I think you're too late. Avery quietly mumbled. "What the hell happened?" asked the first paramedic. Avery pointed to the quivering sergeant. "He knows, but he might not be in the mood." Avery pointed to the mutilated torso of the woman. "Make us start with that," he said. Police backup arrived 7 minutes later. Hassan was still crying when they arrived. One of the officers walked away towards Avery. "What happened?" he asked. "It was pretty brutal." Avery pointed towards Hassan. "Ollie!" he shouted. Sergeant Hassan stood up and stumbled over. The officer looked at him. "We need to see what's up there. Sergeant," he asked. Sergeant Nancy Barrett appeared behind him. "I ain't going back up there." Hassan shuddered. He was visibly shaken. Sergeant Barrett, PC Avery, and one of the paramedics trooped off into the house. Nothing could have prepared them for what they found next. The door to the master bedroom was shattered, with an arm having been thrown at the opposite door, leaving a pool of blood in the hall. There was a small barricade made from a dresser on the inside of the room, and the walls were splattered with blood. Barrett had climbed over the dresser and peeked inside. She threw up. The paramedic was next in, and he gasped. On the bed was the disemboweled corpse of what used to be a man. His head was smashed into a wall on the other side of the room, and there was a bottom half of another body on the ground, with parts of the intestine still inside. A smashed phone was also there, and the bed was soaked in blood, as was the floor and most of the walls. It confirmed to most that this wasn't a normal crime scene. No human could have done this within the space of a minute. Hassan's photo was developed and showed a disturbing sight. And a large, humanoid black wolf was crouched over the body that had been ripped in half. Its eyes were bright yellow, and it was staring into the camera. The flash from the camera forced it out into the night. It survived a 5-meter drop and could still bound incredibly quick. Oliver Hassan was locked in a delirious state for 3 days, and it took CSI 3 weeks to clean the scene up. Detective Inspector Lancaster heard about the event mere minutes after backup arrived. His vast intelligence worked to provide a solution. Take blood samples from the footprints. He commanded a forensic team present. They did as they were asked, and identified the blood to be Piper Rosenthal's. Lancaster also went back to Danny Adams' house to collect a blood sample. He took 2 samples, both placed into vials. He poured them into separate dishes and put them under a microscope. He noticed something. Both blood samples had strange, black strands infrequently running through them. He asked many doctors, but none of them could find a diagnosis. 17th of September, 2019. Detective Inspector Lancaster ordered an armed police unit to seize Daniel Adams. His trial was set for the 15th of November. The charge? Knowingly infecting another with a STI and conspiracy to commit murder. To the Rosenthal family, at least, the brutal murder brought one hope to them. Piper Rosenthal was not dead. PC Avery and Sergeant Barrett took off into the forest where Piper was said to be the next morning. They used motorbikes and followed large paw prints in the ground. And despite this, they never found her. Piper, it seemed, had disappeared off the face of the earth. That was until the 24th of September, when Piper was spotted by CCTV, fully clothed and clean, boarding a train to Glasgow. This was the last anybody saw of her. She was never heard from again, and in the Highlands, farmers occasionally report cattle having been torn apart, but police cannot find a verdict. The Piper Rosenthal case was immensely covered up by the government, which led to much criticism from the public. Daniel Adams still awaits trial. This case is unsolved, and while it has been officially closed, with the official verdict as Piper being murdered, Detective Inspector Charlie Lancaster has sworn to follow the case until he finds Piper Rosenthal. Wow, absolutely fantastic extension and installment to that storyline there. Thank you so much, WolfInSpace. I know I really enjoyed this one as much as the others. Guys and girls, you know the drill. As ever, please do let us know down below in the comments what you thought. Please do like and share. It really does help build the channel and our community further. And of course, don't forget to hashtag be safe, not sorry. And of course, don't forget to hashtag TeamFEAR. Lots of big announcements due over the next week or so, guys. Keep your eyes peeled for that, whether it's the Facebook cabin group or on the community tab of YouTube. Keep your eyes peeled out for some incredible news I want to share with you all. I hope you're all well and happy and having a lovely weekend with friends and family and good food, of course. But above all, remember, be safe, not sorry.